Code monkey get up, get coffee. Code monkey go to job. Code monkey have boring meeting with boring manager Rob. Rob say code monkey very diligent, but his output stink. His code not functional or elegant. What do code monkey think? Code monkey think maybe manager wanna write login page himself. Code monkey not say it out loud. Code monkey not crazy, just proud. Code monkey like Fritos. Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Code monkey very simple man. Big warm fuzzy secret heart. Code monkey like you. Code monkey like you.
What's new, Dino Dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Media Raptor's Reaction and Review, or Reaction and Review with the Media Raptor, or just the Media Raptor Reviews. I could never really settle on a name for these videos. So, there's no real point in trying to be like, oh, do you guys know what I'm doing tonight? Because I mentioned it in my last review. Actually, I think my previous two reviews I've mentioned it. We're taking a look at a 2009. I really hope I got that one right this time. I swear it's 2009, yeah. Okay, 2009. Anime film. It's technically a sequel, technically a second season, and technically the conclusion to an anime I love. We're taking a look at Afro Samurai Resurrection. So for those of you who don't know, I just reviewed Afro Samurai, the whole series, a few days ago. And I love it. The action, the characters, the animation style, the storytelling, I think all of it is great. So, I was totally down to watch this, even though technically I got this in like 2018 and just never got around to buying this for some reason. I don't know why. And it was supposed to be the review I did before, like it was supposed to come right after the Afro Samurai review. The issue was Amazon, had like a delay in my orders, so hang on. When I ordered it, I ordered some other stuff, so I got a Switch controller and this. Yeah, I actually wore out my DVD copy of Sharktopus, so I had to buy a Blu-ray copy to replace it. Yes, I wore out a DVD of Sharktopus. But they kind of said, yeah, for some reason this wasn't part of it, but it came in today, so hey, here we are. Cool, no harm, no foul, with everything going on, it's fine. I'd love to tell you what I know about this movie, but all I know is what I read on the back, and one clip I've seen on YouTube. Other than that, I have stayed far away from any spoilers on this. I haven't even really watched the trailer for it. I'm going in totally blind, aside from the knowledge I have from watching the Afro Samurai show, or the OVA, I guess? I don't know, the mini-series. That's what I like to refer to it as, the mini-series. The two things I can tell you that are interesting is one, well, three things actually. Mark Hamill's in this movie. Yeah, Luke Skywalker. I probably won't be able to tell who he is, but it's cool that he's in here. Two, there's a character on the back, Sayo. She was in the show, she was a little girl that Afro knew when Afro was being trained as a little kid. This is kind of a spoiler, but whatever. She's dead. She and Afro kind of went at it for a bit, and then in one episode, and then she died like 5 minutes later. Or at least got stabbed a bunch of times and left to bleed out, so maybe she's alive in this, I don't know. I'm not really complaining, because I just really want to see where this movie's going. So, who knows? Just from the little video that's playing over here on the menu, this looks awesome. The other thing to mention is the fact that this is, as it says on the cover, the special edition director's cut. The second I open it, the first thing I see is this. Not sure if it's coming into yeah, it says coming soon, 2-disc special edition director's cut. Now, yeah, on the bottom it says it might be the DVD is the director's cut in the Spike TV version, so maybe that's that 2-disc version. But it's kind of funny and almost a middle finger in a sense how they're like, hey, you bought the special edition director's cut. There's a different one that's better and you didn't buy it. Sucker. However, this is what Amazon sold, so now I have it. And yeah, I'm just gonna stop talking. I'm very excited to watch this movie. I'm just down for some dumb fun, some great action, and got myself Baja Blast ready to go, so let's say without further ado, now we all just grab a drink, kick back, and check out Afro Samurai Resurrection. Okay. Yeah, 3 minutes in, I can already tell you the animation is awesome, the music is amazing, and these fight scenes are great. I really feel like this is just going to be a fun ride for me, and frankly, that's kind of what I've been looking for. Ninja's back. I am so happy. Yeah, say what you want about the character. I think he's hilarious. And his music, this is a little like there's a little like beat he's got. I don't know what it is, and I can never find it, and that makes me really angry because it's such a good beat. So we're just under a third of the way through the movie. Okay, sure, like we're 10 minutes away from being a third through, whatever. This has kind of been nothing but a rehash of the show. Sure, there was a bit more plot and there was a bit more character, but this kind of has followed a number of the plot points from the show, including one of the locations they're currently in, and the whole everyone wants to fight Afro. Granted, there's different reasoning behind it, and it is different enough that it's still entertaining, but I do hope that the rest of the movie kind of takes it in a new direction. Never thought I'd comment on this. That stripper looks a lot like Angela Ziegler from Overwatch, and that makes me very uncomfortable for a number of reasons. Especially because, like, I've seen what the Overwatch fans have come up with, and that's not much better. Also, yes, to answer the question, there were a big anime in this movie. Well, that was excessively gory. I liked it. Also, if they're going where I think they are, this might actually be shockingly emotional. Okay, what is it with kids and anime movies I've been watching recently getting the worst end of the deal in every single regard? I mean, the kid didn't die this time like in Scorpion's Revenge, but come on, man. You know, now that I think about it, Afro is kind of a dick. Okay, these killer robot designs are awesome. Like, it's really unique and really interesting. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain it, but I love the way they're designed. I love the way that the characters like have. Oh, that's brutal. Have such a human shape to them, but also such a, I guess, cartoonish shape to them at the same time. And then the robots are like, hey, what if we just kind of compress everything, twist it around unnaturally, and then slap a bunch of weapons on it? Okay. That was Afro Samurai Resurrection. That ending, I have a big problem with that ending. One sec. Okay. So, right out the gate, great. A lot of fun. If you liked this, you're gonna love this. If you haven't seen this, don't watch this because you need to see this in order to understand some of this. Trust me, these two, watch them back to back, or just watch them on your own time. They're a lot of fun. They got a great story, they got a really interesting character, and a cool deconstruction of the whole revenge-driven warrior plot. It's got some of the some amazing action scenes and some awesome animation and stylization. I gotta talk about the ending to this thing, though, and I'm gonna spoil it just because I need to put into words why this bugs me. So, at the very end, well, early in the movie, when Afro has to find the number 2 headband, he finds the dude, fights him, kills him, because that's the way it goes. This guy had a son, or he had adopted his friend's son and was taking care of him. So this kid sees his dad get murdered, much like Afro did, and sets out to kind of confront Afro. At the end, Afro gives him the number 2 headband, I believe. I can't read kanji, and I believe it's the number 2 headband, telling him whenever you're ready. He's kind of telling him, when you're ready, come face me, much like what Justice did with him. This is a kid who looks like he can't be older than 5. The way this works is anyone can challenge you for the number 2 headband. And the second you have the headband, your whole life will be nothing but violence, death, and murder. I don't think a 5-year-old orphan is going to be able to really hold up that well against all the people we've seen in the show who are willing to commit genocide practically to try and get their hands on this strip of cloth. I get what they were going for, and I really appreciate the sentiment, and I think it was a satisfying ending. But within the rules of the show it's following up on, that's a terrible thing to do, because you're essentially saying, hey, this thing will ruin your life and most likely get you killed. Take it. I killed your dad. I'm not apologizing. Get bent. So yeah, that ending was really weird. And look, I understand sometimes an ending can be kind of metaphorical, or it can kind of be open-ended to let you determine what it means. And I think if they had just worded it slightly differently, or if he said, like, if you want to fight me, put this on and follow me, and then it ends with him training him or something. Like, I don't know. Just the fact that he gives this kid the number 2 headband and tells him, hey, come fight me when you're ready. He knows firsthand what happens when a kid gets their hands on the number 2 headband and how that can completely ruin their life. Because it happened to him. Okay, let's put that to the side. What about the rest of the film? It's great. It is not perfect, but granted nothing really is. Is it better than Afro Samurai? Well, I think in some ways yes, and in some ways no. So let's talk about the writing. I've gone on about the ending there, and that's the last I'll say about it for now. But early on I commented, this really just seems to be a rehash of the movie, so hopefully the movie can do something new. About 5 minutes after I said that, things just went off the rails. In the greatest way possible. Okay, I say greatest way possible, I mean, they went off the rails in a super entertaining way, with a couple twists and turns I kind of saw coming, but definitely still kept me very entertained. It felt oddly kind of long in a few scenes. Like, there were a couple scenes I think did drag on a bit too long, or maybe could have been faster. Which is weird, because the movie is 97 minutes, but it does feel a bit longer than that, both in a good way and a bad way. So something I talked about when I reviewed the show was that Afro himself, we don't really know a lot about him. We know he likes weed, lemonade, and sandals, and I gotta agree with at least 2 out of those 3 things. But the movie gives him a lot of dialogue this time. He talks quite a bit more. Never like full conversations, giving speeches, blah blah blah. But we kind of see his character a lot more just through the very brief interactions he has. Now, yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure I said in this, I talked about the manga's ending, about how I thought it was better than the anime's ending. No big surprise there. This whole movie is essentially just a giant look at the idea that, yeah, Afro Samurai, he's a cool guy. He can fight like a boss. He's also kind of a terrible person. And you really do see firsthand, especially through Afro's eyes, the aftermath and the effects of some of the things he's done. Stuff like, killing groups of people. That meant they have families. Ignoring the fact that once he had the number 1 headband, he just kind of went, screw it, I'm out of here, and then left it. And then kind of abandon the duties that he inherited because he only cared about revenge. And throughout the whole movie, he's really forced to kind of take a look at some of the things he did in this and question were they worth it. It gets even worse because the plot is, it says on the back, when his dad gets brought back, and that's not a spoiler, it says so right on the back, when his dad gets brought back, it's just kind of heartbreaking because his dad never says you did the wrong thing, but Afro says to him, I was only focused on revenge for you. And I think, maybe it's the way that Samuel Jackson played the character, but I honestly swear that in that moment you could kind of see Afro going, what have I done? Especially with the fact that it then leads to, well, I don't want to spoil everything, but yeah, it very much is a story of a broken warrior. And frankly, I think they pull off that story of a broken warrior extremely well. Because all throughout, Afro is still a likable character. He's still a cool guy you want to watch more of. It's interesting to see him on this path. But the movie does kind of stop and question every now and then, hey, is this right? Now granted, the movie never crawls to a stop to go, no, this is wrong and we should not be like this. The movie knows, look, you're here for the violence, but hey, let's do a little bit of creativity in there. So they managed to balance out these awesome set pieces and action scenes with some genuinely good character moments. As I pointed out earlier, Ninja's back, even though he is on the cover, so frankly you knew that from the word go. He's still really entertaining, and frankly becomes the voice of reason, even at times saying things that will make you go, huh, yeah, he's got a point, like, that's a really good point. But I am still kind of annoyed by this. They don't really explain if he's the if he is the spirit of the number 2 headband, or if he's just in Afro's mind. Because even there's like a little booklet in here that came with it. They kind of have like a brief like character thing about all the characters in the movie. I think it's kind of neat, and they do kind of say it's just kind of. It kind of makes it seem like he's only in Afro's mind, but compared to both, the show and some dialogue said in the movie and the manga apparently, and even the creators, there isn't really a definitive answer. But I'm just going to go with the fact that he is entirely in Afro's mind, which then just raises more questions about this, but whatever, because that's what the creators said most recently, so let's just go with that. All the new characters here are good. They get the point across. A couple of them are quite memorable, a couple of them are quite forgettable. I like the fact that the number 3 and number 1, brother 1 and brother 3 are back. Those were the characters I really liked in the show, and it's glad to see that at least one of them survived, at least somewhat well. But yeah, this really is essentially a resurrection of Afro Samurai. He's forced to go back to the way he was. He's forced to pick up his sword. And eventually, he's forced to face the effects of what he's done. Now, is this writing like super deep and metaphorical and will make you kind of question everything? No, and I'm probably talking it up way too much. At the end of the day, it's Samuel Jackson as a samurai. That alone should make you want to watch this thing. But you know what? For a story, and more importantly, technically a conclusion to this whole saga, I think it did a pretty good job. I can't think off the top of my head how I would be like, oh, well, here's how you could make it better. Aside from the brief thing with the ending, and even then they kind of imply that maybe that's not the case, I think it's just very well written. It's got some fun comedy bits from Ninja. There's some good character moments, some genuinely emotional moments. And above all, though, everything flows. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like you're watching 5 episodes of a show. Feels more like you're watching 2 or 3. There are a few points, though, that where the flow does kind of go like, instead of just straight, like everything's connected, it goes like straight, just a brief hiccup here or there, but even then, it's pretty easy to look past because you're just kind of invested in the movie. Part of that has to do with the acting. Now, I pointed this out earlier, I questioned this earlier, that Sio, I thought she died in this. No, wrong character. Seo was actually an all-new character made for this movie. It was Okiku. I am mispronouncing that horribly. Or is it Okiku? I don't know, but she was the girl played by Kelly Yu. Or Kelly Hu. Sorry, I'm really bad with names tonight for some reason. And maybe if I take my glasses off, I'll be able to kill... What is wrong with me? Lucy Liu plays Seo, the brother of Gino, the bear dude. She is a completely new character for this movie, and while she's a really good villain, there also is kind of the biggest issue with her is the fact that she isn't really given enough development. Yeah, it's clear why she's doing what she's doing, but we don't really see exactly what happened to her, or exactly what Afro did, or exactly what drove her into this madness. But for what it is, she's a really good villain, and part of that does have to do with Lucy Liu. The actress is just playing both this serene, calm, and collected woman, as well as this completely insane, psychopathic, revenge-driven murderer. And the fact that she can switch back and forth between it so much is really good. Samuel L. Jackson is back reprising both Ninja and Afro Samurai. I was really surprised, because there are a number of scenes, like I've said, where Afro talks a bit more now, and he actually has to deliver some lines with a lot more emotion than in the show. And boy, does he nail it. It's just kind of sad almost, seeing Afro is nothing more really than just a broken man who wanted revenge and now realizes that after all he's done, there is no escape from the cycle he's kind of forced himself into. And at the same time, it doesn't sound like Samuel L. Jackson, so you really are just kind of listening like, oh yeah, that is him. And the delivery is great. Pretty much anybody who was in this that returns to the movie is still doing great. I mentioned Mark Hamill was in it. I could not tell who he was until I looked it up, and it is one of the guys. It's I forget the character who runs the shop at one point they end up in. And yeah, he's Mark Hamill, so of course he's entertaining. Yeah, animation, I love this stuff. Much like the show, the movie is very stylized, very fast, fluent, and very gory. But there are a couple scenes, especially towards the end, that I just loved. Because it almost became an animatic in a sense, and I'm not going to spoil what or how or why. Trust me, you just gotta watch it. The animation can be kind of choppy and kind of stilted at times, but overall, the animation is still fluid, entertaining, and very creative and unique. This is made by Gonzo Studios. I found that out after doing some research on it. It's distributed by Funimation, so that's my lesson from the last review. It is Gonzo Entertainment. There is anything I don't like about the animation, it probably has more to do with the editing. Because there's one scene when there's a really cool fight going on, and then it will randomly cut to this random sex scene that is not with the main character, not that would make it much better, but it just comes out of nowhere, and especially when you're so invested into a scene with this awesome fight that could literally mean so much for the plot, it then just cuts to alley banging. It's like, okay, what? Why? And it's just kind of gratuitous, to be honest. It doesn't serve the plot. It doesn't feel like it needs to be there. It feels like they're like, hey, we can get away with it, so let's do it. So, yeah, there's that. But overall, the animation is a step up because it feels like they have more practice and more, I don't know, I guess practice is the best word to describe it for designing these characters. So the redesigns look great, the characters still look great. A few of them do seem to have proportions that are off somewhat in a few scenes, especially with Ninja, because he talks and then kind of goes really quickly to a different pose, then to a different pose. It's his character. But there's one scene when his arm is kind of closer to the camera, it seems like 3 times bigger than it should be. So maybe that's just me, but who knows. Overall, beautiful animation. The locations are such unique designs. I love it. Excuse me. So, speaking of Ninja, the music. Great mix of rock, rap, and of course like traditional feudal music. But I am so annoyed by this. There is one, it's like a 30-second bit that plays whenever Ninja is starting a scene. And it's this weird, like, very just like techno beat with a little bit of trumpets or I think it's trumpets added. I cannot find it anywhere. I don't know if it's on the soundtrack or if it literally just is fodder music that somehow is like in some royalty-free library. If anybody knows, please tell me below. Please. And I will give you a shout out in a review or something. Just please, I want to find that music because I love it. But overall, the movie is actually smart enough to know what scenes do need music and what scenes don't. Specifically, what fight scenes do and don't. So, yeah. But what is here, stuff like from the RZA and all that, and yes, it is Z, because I'm Canadian, it's not Z, it's Z. And as well as just all the other music is great. The outro song that was playing before I shut it off, I'm probably going to go find it on YouTube and listen to it. It's just... It's catchy, it's catchy, it works with the, the show you're watching, or the movie you're watching. Overall, thumbs up. Editing. I kind of said my piece about editing already, is some of the scenes are kind of edited in a weird way, where it's kind of cutting back and forth between, one thing and another. Sometimes it works great, because it's cutting back to a character's reaction to a fight, or it's cutting to a flashback, or it's cutting to something of value. Other times, it's just random stuff it cuts to for no real reason. But, yeah, so, while the editing is a bit off, it doesn't really matter, because it's just that one scene, and that those things only last about 5 seconds, but to me, it just ruins the flow of it. So, overall, can I recommend Afro Samurai Resurrection? Oh, totally. If you don't like gore, if you don't like violence, I'm just going to come out and say it, skip these. Trust me, you will be happier. But if you have seen this and you haven't seen this, watch it. Afro Samurai Resurrection is exactly what I was hoping for. It is just some fun entertainment with a surprisingly good story that's a bit deeper than I thought it would be. Not super deep, but still actually interesting enough to certainly get my interest and keep me going. And it feels like it's a complete character arc for Afro Samurai. It feels like if this is truly the end, this is a good place to end it. And I do really like the message that's kind of throughout this whole series. And yeah, a lot of shows and a lot of movies have done the whole revenge is pointless thing. But I don't know what it is about this. Excuse me. What is about this series, I guess, that makes me just like it so much more the way they do it. Anyhow, really, at the end of the day, I'm giving this a solid 3 Raptor Claws out of 4. Now, I mainly do my ratings on entertainment. While I do have issues with the plot, issues with some of the character stuff, and some issues with the animation and editing, all that can be looked past because overall, this is just a fun, entertaining, action-packed, gory samurai movie. It very much is more Afro Samurai, which after rewatching the show is what I was in the mood for. So trust me, next time I binge this again, this is coming up right after. So from what I can tell, that you can either buy these two separately, like I did. Believe it or not, you can, because I don't know where I'm going with that joke, never mind. You can either buy them like this, or there's something called the Complete Murder Seasons or something, which I think is just Afro Samurai and then the movie box together. Really, if you get the chance, watch them. They're just fun, they're awesome, they're entertaining, and I really wish more people talked about them. So, now what? Honestly, I want to watch some more anime stuff, or some more, kind of this style of animation or this style of action. So I'm either going to go watch Redline again, because I have not watched that thing in ages, or I'm going to go watch Dragon Ball Super Broly again, because that was another reaction review I did, and that was a really fun one, and I haven't seen that since I did the R&R, so yeah. Anyhow, until next time, Dino Dudes, this has been the Meteor Raptor saying keep cool, stay home, stay safe, and I'll see all you Dino Dudes around. Later.